Look, I'm going to get Bob's take on what we just heard. But first, I just want to say this. We have gotten into this position where we've been taken over, usurped by foreign offshore banks and corporations because we got an attitude that we're the biggest, we're the best, there's no corruption in government. I could just go play golf all day and never care about who's getting elected or never care about what's happening with special interest. I can just go to sleep. And I know that if we have that attitude, things are only going to get worse. We are having successes that are so giant. The spirit in this country and the world is shifting and awakening. I'm seeing it everywhere I go, in foreign countries and other cities. Masses of people come up to Alex Jones on the street and say, we're awake, we're fighting. And I'm just one guy. So you may not have a face they recognize, the caller from California, Dave. And so you may think that, that I'm blowing smoke. And you may see decadent, soulless people around you who aren't awake and think we're doomed. I know we're in a lot better position than we were a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago. Bob Chapman's been doing this for almost 50 years. Okay, he's an icon in fighting the New World Order, and he doesn't have a loser attitude. And I'm not calling you a loser, sir, but I don't need to be rebuked for getting up here and saying things are really bad, these people are really bad. That's like if your house is on fire and I go call the fire department, it's on fire. I'm not being negative, I'm telling you the truth. But the fire department pulled up, they put out fires in a couple rooms, looks like we're going to be able to save the house. If you'll stop telling the firemen to stand down. Okay, now, they told the founding fathers they couldn't win. They've told everybody they couldn't win. They've told inventors they couldn't invent things. It is an attitude, a loser attitude that we have going on here that we've got to rout out. We have to go look at these criminals in government, beat the drum that they're criminals, expose their system, and they will fall because they've triggered criminal operations that are going to hurt people financially. And so even lazy, decadent people are now looking for the truth and rubbing the sleep out of their eyes and getting awake and getting involved. And it is a lie to say that there's no way to stand up against this or to stop this. Look at what's happening. Every time we stand up, we win. The problem is most of the time people don't stand up because they don't have any respect for themselves in this fight. Bob Chapman.
Well, I agree, but I think it's good to have the dialogue and have the other side. Like the gentleman said, I don't believe it. I don't think it's going to work. He understands the problem. He said he did. And his take, you said, is incorrect. I agree with you, and it is incorrect. And the key word, and you mentioned it just a minute or two ago, is we know what the problem is, and we have to have the spirit of American citizens in our country, and we have to go forward and stop these people. And better, we should go forward and be defeated than not go forward at all and just give up and give these people world government and world tyranny, and we become vassals of some vast state. We've got to stop them here, and we've got to make sure they don't do it again. And that's spirit. It's just like a sports team goes out, they're going to have interaction with another team, no matter what the sport, and you all talk together and say, look, we know these other guys or these other gals are really good, but we get the spirit, and we really want to win this game, and we're going to do it.
And then you look at the fact that the globalists are a bunch of pot-bellied, wicked, corrupt people. Sure, they've got the money and the power, but it's all fraudulent. If you really look at the strength of the people, we're like 1 million feet tall, weigh 6 trillion pounds, and they're a 125-pound pot-bellied goblin that's gotten up there full of arrogance and chutzpah or whatever and beat its chest and told us we're beaten, told us that we can't win. I mean, when they were dropping A-bombs on Tokyo or on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the Imperial Japanese were broadcasting we'd lost the war. It's like Baghdad Bob getting up there and saying that the U.S. had lost as explosions were going off behind him. It's a crock of baloney. We'll be right back. Stopping by the woods on a snowy evening, Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his little harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Nice little wintertime poem. I wish I was in the woods riding a horse, but I got to be right here fighting the New World Order. You know, if people would just go to their city councils, their county commissioners, their state houses, confront them, speak out, go to public events, call into talk radio, call Congress, go and confront the land grabbers, go and confront the CPS, stand up for your rights, demonstrate, rally so they can't ban it, go to public events, confront globalists. I mean, Al Gore is canceling much of his speaking tours because everywhere he goes, he's being protested, and that's making it in the newspaper, and he looks bad. These people don't have total control. So many people that serve the system serve it because they think we're kooks, because they were told we were kooks by the media, but now because of people 20, 30, 40 years ago telling the truth, everybody heard the truth. So now that it's been proven to be the truth, people are ready to wake up. What is it that caller can't understand about that, Bob? He isn't rejoicing at all the successes we're having. He isn't rejoicing at the enemy in retreat on multi-fronts. Every time we fight, we win. But how do we get the people to stand up, Bob?
By telling them the truth and continuing to cite all of the instances that you brought up today about cap and trade and the scandal in ClimateGate and the power of what's going on in Congress with the Federal Reserve and the imminent passage of Ron Paul's 1207 and the 604 in the Senate. All these are very positive things. We're showing people that all the things that they suspected are really going on. And the reason we couldn't find out is everything is behind closed doors. You know, Alex and you and I, we back into a lot of things because we can't get the information sometimes. And you put the puzzle together, and all of a sudden you've discovered, well, that's what they're doing. And most people don't want to bother to do that.
And Bob,
they'd rather throw their hands in the air and live in an internment camp. And evidently that's what that fellow would like to do.
And on top of that, we're going to come back and take calls, I promise, for John, Alan, Mike, Scott, and others. We get internal congressional reports. We get internal ADL reports. We get internal reports from the big think tanks. And look at all these emails from the top UN climate fraudsters. They're pulling their hair out going, they're exposing us. How do we stop them? They may beat us. They're behind the scenes. They're just, they're everywhere. They're waking up to us. Out in the public, they're like, we're winning. Everything's fine, because they understand they've got to put that good face on their fraud. But when we come out and say we're starting to win, that's real. Folks, they're scared to death of us. Bob?
And that's a fact.
And that's a fact. I am just...
It is. I know these people. I've debated them just like you have. And they don't want to talk about anything on the plane that we want to talk about. There's no open discussion. I mean, Ron Paul, for the first time in the last couple of weeks, got on major television, CNBC and things like that. They're now recognizing that the feeling of the disenchantment by the public is so great that they have to use more propaganda and face up to the fact that there is opposition, just like the gentleman who called in. He's in opposition to trying to win, evidently. And these people, they want to hold on to what they've got, this power, this enormous amount of money, the control,
well, Bob,
people,
there's also a lot of people that expect we're going to lose and can't believe anything ever positive is going to happen. But the globalists are just criminals, ladies and gentlemen.